All right, welcome back. CT Podcast, late on a Monday. First timer, JP Acosta of SBNation.com is here. JP, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for being here. Especially after just the last few weeks of Jacksonville Jaguars football. It was very brave of you to come on this podcast under the circumstances.
It's been a rough few weeks. That Giants game, I was holding on till the end. They threw all the flags. I'm like, they're not going to do this to me. Not today. Not this year. And then they went and did it to me at the end of the game. And I was like, all right, that's fine. You can't hurt me anymore.
Well, this is going to be good because all three of us went through a rough Sunday afternoon. The Bengals and Falcons, that was horrific for a multitude of reasons. And then we had Evans 49ers going down to the Chiefs on Sunday afternoon.
I want to die.
You tweet through it though, and I respect that, Evan. By
the way, with that, let me just say, JP, I just followed you. Do not feel obligated to follow me back because I'm probably a fucking, excuse my language, miserable follow.
Look, I tweet about anime and Disney stuff. I don't do any football.
Dog, I'm telling you,
did y'all just become best friends moment right here?
I got Rengoku and Tanjiro just chilling.
See, I have Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and I have the Ultra Instinct Goku Funko around here somewhere.
Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is my favorite character in the history of all that is anime.
It's definitely in my top 3.
Yeah.
I have no idea what y'all are talking about. No idea. This was never me as a kid. I was never
Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is Peyton Manning in his first 3 years.
Okay.
Just dominant.
Rocky start. You're not sure if it's gonna work. The offensive line really sucks.
And then just Super Bowls.
Yeah. Speaking of, did you know Tom Moore is still coaching? Did y'all know that he is on a coaching staff somewhere right now?
Wow. I would never.
He's on the Bucs. I was going through the Bucs staff because I was like, okay, if they fire Leftwich, who would they promote from within, or how would that go? And I am scrolling through their just the coaching staff on the Bucs website, and I'm like, that's not the same Tom Moore. Did he retire 20 years ago? Tom Moore looks like he retired 20 years ago. He is a offensive analyst or something. It's the whole Nick Saban made up Alabama rules where it's just, okay, he's on staff, whatever, doing whatever. And Tom Moore just still out here.
I had that moment for, I think there was a viral photo after the Alabama-Tennessee game of Derek Dooley.
Yes.
Doing spaghetti under the stadium. And I'm like, Derek Dooley's still doing the thing.
Yeah, he got the check. And that was brutal for him twofold, just being the former Tennessee coach. And if you want to talk, JP, all things Tennessee Volunteers, I'm more than happy to talk about the future SEC champion, college football playoff Tennessee Volunteers.
This is 2 weeks in a row back to back that I have to hear about this college football team, and I didn't sign up for that.
It's Kentucky week.
I didn't know I set off a little fire right there.
No, man, I just don't really. I'm an Oregon Duck fan, but
speaking of, you can have Marcus Mariota back. I'm good. I'm good with Marcus Mariota at this point.
I told you exactly what was going to happen, and it's happening. And I feel like you just don't appreciate that. He's giving you some excitement, some reasonable
excitement.
Quarterback.
My man's thrown less than 30 passes in the last 2 weeks.
You beat the Niners, dog. You guys are. I told you you would stay in a couple of games, but in the end, and you would inevitably lose enough to be able to draft a quarterback. And it's happening, and I feel like you're just not appreciative of it.
I don't think it's happening. The schedule, hold on, we'll get into this because I don't think they're on that course. The Falcons have, hold on, I'll save my Falcons takes because I have some. JP, your Jacksonville Jaguars, you mentioned at the top of the show, they had a really brutal loss, 1 yard away from beating the New York Giants on Sunday afternoon. And then I have some stray Giants takes, but walk us through what actually happened, because this is one of those games where I feel like if you just box score dive into this, it tells a different story than what actually happened, because you're going through it and you're like, I don't understand how the Jaguars lost this game. They didn't have any turnovers. Kirk did his thing. They ran the ball. Trevor Lawrence was fine. Daniel Jones could only run the ball. There wasn't anything through the air. It's like Darius Slayton had 3 catches, and you look at it and you're like, I don't understand how this team has any offense and how they beat the Jaguars this week. Explain it to me, because I don't get what happened here.
So the Giants do this thing, and I'm going to use another anime reference here.
Uh-huh.
They do this thing where they're just getting beat up the entire game, and then in the fourth quarter, in the most critical moments, they go Super Saiyan, and it looks like a completely different team.
Uh-huh.
So I think it was one point where Trent gets the ball, it's a clear path to the end zone. The Jaguars go up by 2 touchdowns, basically almost put the game on ice. He fumbles the ball off of his knee into the end zone. The Giants recover it, and it's a touchback turnover. So that's the first point where I'm like, oh no, this is gonna happen, isn't it? And then the Giants offense, what makes it fun is also what makes it so difficult to prepare for is they don't have a necessary thing they do super well.
Yeah.
They're not great at throwing the ball, but then Daniel Jones will drop a dime to Darius Slayton like he did in this game. They're not super overwhelming running the ball. They lost 2 offensive linemen, but yeah, Daniel Jones ran for 100 yards. Saquon Barkley had another 100-yard game. And it's just the little things that they do really well that the Jaguars don't do well right now. So there was a string of plays where Daniel Jones kept it on a zone read, and the same Jaguars defender fell for it 4 times. And I'm sitting there looking at TV like, hey man, this is play number 3. It's you can stop the quarterback on this play.
Was this Devin Lloyd, by the way, who's not graded well the last few weeks? Who was it?
It wasn't Devin Lloyd. It was DeJuan Smoot. He's the backup defensive end. He comes in a lot. He's actually not bad, but on that play, I can just tell it's like, okay, this is a zone read. Here's the play. Daniel Jones is right there, and he just goes crashing down Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones takes off for 20 yards. And I still think people think Daniel Jones isn't a great athlete when the dude can run. He's not in Ken Scoot range anymore. He can run. He's out running.
He's graduated from Scoot range.
I don't think anybody understands that. He ran 11 carries for 107 yards. He averaged 9.7 yards per carry. He did better than Saquon. He had a tug. Literally fantasy-wise as a runner, he did better than Saquon.
I'm breaking a TV if I lose to the Giants. This iteration of the Giants this team. Daniel Jones outgaining Saquon Barkley, and you lose the game that way. This team, like you said, the fourth quarter nonsense. This would drive me nuts.
It was insane because they know how to work really well in situational football. And that's something that can be take credit for Brian Daboll, what they've done in that team. But from the Jaguars' perspective, dude, this is it. This was the game you had. It was at home. You were up. You got to win this game, especially against a Giants team that's really not that great. The final drive, I think Saquon Barkley stepped out of bounds and they reviewed it. You had the chance to go down, eventually win the game with a touchdown, and you just get aided by so many penalties. I think there were 4 straight penalties. There was a roughing the passer, there was a holding, there was an illegal contact, and then a pass interference, all on the Giants. So now you're at the 35-yard line. And it's okay, here's the moment. Here's the touchdown. And Christian Kirk is 1 yard away. And he's 1 yard short. And I'm just okay, this is how this season is going to go. I'm done here.
So, the Jaguars are just so weird to me because they blow out the Colts. They shut them out 24-0. They blow out the Chargers 38-10. And then everything is just close. They're the actual opposite of the Giants, which I think is funny that this is how this game went, because the Giants, and we'll get more into their 1-score wins, the opposite is happening in Jacksonville, where Jacksonville, who I thought was turning the corner this year, they lose by 8 to the Eagles on the road. They lose by 7 at home to the Texans. They lose by 7 on the road at Indy, and now they lose by 6 at home to the Giants. The close losses for you, because this is something that we suffered with Falcons fans the last basically 2 years now, where it's they're in every game. The Falcons just hang around. They're gritty. There's buy-in there. You want to see that. The Lions even had that for a stretch with Dan Campbell, where you're hey, they're fighting, and that's good. Even if you don't win, you're fighting. I don't know if that's the case for the Jaguars, where I just feel like the Jaguars actually have a little bit more talent than that. I think they should actually be winning more of these games. I don't think that the situations in Jacksonville are the same as Atlanta to this point, but is it, I mean, what do you do? Is there something the last 4 weeks that tell you something's wrong and this is something that has not gotten cleaned up yet? Or do you think the law of averages flip back and the Jaguars start winning these games down the stretch?
I think it is something wrong, not just with like I think the scheme is fine offensively. I just don't think they have the guys. I think they desperately need somebody who's fast and can create separation. Christian Kirk is your best separation guy, but he plays primarily out of the slot. That's a slot only receiver. The reason Travis Etienne has gotten so many more touches than James Robinson is because he is the fastest player on the team, especially with Jamal Agnew out. There's nobody else who can threaten the defense downfield. That's why when you see all the Trevor Lawrence passing charts, it's always like 10 to 15 yards over the middle, which is really good. Like you want players who can throw in those areas.
Yeah.
You don't want to base your offense off of that. It's like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack every time you're going down the field. You need to find something easy that can like get some speed or somebody who can separate. And that's really what they lack offensively, and that would really help Trevor Lawrence a lot. I think defensively, it's really tough because it's a mix of scheme, but it's also personnel. So they're trying to be a lot like Tampa, but I don't think they have the corners to be like Tampa. Tyson Campbell is legitimately very good.
Which is a surprise. People were destroying that pick when it happened out of Georgia. The Campbell pick.
He started off rough the first half of the season last year, but he has turned it on immediately. He is legitimate Jaguar CB1, one of the better young corners in the league. Opposite of him, you have Shaq Griffin, who was torched last week against the Colts. And then Trey Herndon, who was immediately targeted by the Giants on that Darius Slayton touchdown. So now you just need another guy over there that can kind of be we just need somebody who can break up passes.
Yeah.
Like Shaq Griffin's not doing that right now. All the passes over the middle, you can't play man because then you're isolating your linebackers against really fast tight ends and running backs, which we thought would be a strength, but it just hasn't happened. I think Matt Ryan threw like 12 crossing routes to Michael Pittman, and they were all for like 140 yards. That's where every ball that Michael Pittman.
Better times for my guy, Matt Ryan. Yeah,
better times. But it's just been really weird seeing how good the defense was through the first few weeks. Even the Philly game was good. It was fine. It was in a monsoon, and you only lose by 8 to a team that's currently undefeated. That's fine.
Yeah.
But all the close games after that, I think I tweeted it, but losers find ways to lose. Eventually, you have to find a way to win. I know it's a young team, yada, yada, yada. You got to find a way to win these games. And if it comes down to like another one-score game and another one-score loss, you're going to have to stop being a loser. That's what the Jaguars are known as right now. They are known as the losers. Find a way to win.
I like it. Speaking of losers, the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday afternoon. Oh, man, Evan, it's time for your therapy session. Let it out, my friend. They don't beat the Chiefs again on Sunday afternoon. Grant Cohn had this to say, quote, Jimmy Garoppolo has a lower QBR this season than Geno Smith, Daniel Jones, Cooper Rush, Marcus Mariota, Jacoby Brissett, Jared Goff, Andy Dalton, and Mitch Trubisky. Is this rock bottom for the Niners right now, in this offense especially?
Unfortunately not. I think rock bottom might be a nice little wake-up call, but the reality is the NFC is still completely wide open. There's so many 3-3 teams right now. It's absurd. And they've got a reasonable schedule ahead of them. But the thing that I will say is this: at the very top of the list, we are still they are still the most injured team in the NFL. Today, the injury report added Juice will be out a couple weeks with a broken finger. He had surgery on that finger. Debo has a hamstring injury. These are people that were going into that game healthy. So we're just adding to the list of people that were injured in the first, or that weren't, it's just never ending. The one thing that I will say, as much as Grant loves his, one-liners and his psychosis inducing stuff, Jimmy legitimately has looked the best version of himself this season. I think it's so polarizing, right? Because he's had probably some of the worst plays, most insanely boneheaded, like how on earth could you possibly do that plays? But by and large, he's made throws that people thought he couldn't make. He's been destroying the middle of the field. He's at times looked incredibly serviceable, which, like to me, the Jimmy that I'm seeing play this season is significantly better than the 2019 version of Jimmy. He looks healthier. He's got more zip in his passes. He's making throws that people said straight up he can't make, right? So, the issue that I have right now is, you look at the teams like the Jaguars, right? And you go, they don't have the talent, right? They've got an incredible quarterback, but they're just not there yet. They're probably a year or two away, and that's fine, because when you get 2 number 1 overall picks 2 years in a row, that probably tells you where that team should be, right? But the thing is, for me, you look at the Seahawks, you look at the Giants, these are teams that are winning in spite of their roster, right? And it feels like it's the inverse with the 49ers, where they've got all these incredible talents. I mean, like, let me just say it now so we can get it over with. Nick Bosa, Deebo Samuel, Fred Warner, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, like, it's insane. Kyle Juszczyk, like, those are all, I've just named people that are considered to be the best at their position, period. All on the same team. And yes, there's injuries. Eric Armstead's out. Javon Kinlaw, that's the middle of the defensive line. They're out, right?
I'm playing corner for the Falcons next week.
Right, I get it. But like, in spite of that, they're losing, right? And I feel like this is a team. I said it, earlier today, and I said at the end of the day, yesterday, I was like, I look around the NFL right now and I see a lot of teams that are doing more with less. And I just feel like the 49ers are doing less with more. And it's really frustrating to be a 49ers fan and watch the Seahawks win with Geno Smith, who, by the way, Geno Smith might be the only way that I could ever root for a Seahawks quarterback. I love Geno. I'm happy he's playing well. But
we got some more Geno we got to hit on in a little bit, but yeah.
But that team is supposed to be bad right now. But like Pete Carroll always does, he makes these kids and these men and these feel scrappy, like their backs against the wall. No one believes in you guys. Go out there and prove it. He every year he gets them going, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, Kyle is supposed to be one of the best coaches in the NFL. It's there on film. These players are open. The players are getting open, but it's still like you look at the numbers and it's like the first quarter, they have like 110 QBR rating, right? They're scoring. They're just destroying teams. Every 49ers game, if you go back and watch the film, the beginning of the game, the first drive, they look like they are lightning in a bottle, unstoppable. The first drive of this game, I was like, we're going to the Super Bowl, because Christian McCaffrey. This
is me every week with Tennessee for the last 2 years, by
the
way, with the Josh Heupel offense. Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey comes in. He's had 4 days at best of like 2 days even of learning the playbook. Christian McCaffrey is the old Christian McCaffrey. He's breaking tackles. He's falling down and getting a first down every time. And it's just like, oh, we have this on top. George Kittle was catching the ball, right? National Tight End Day. We haven't been able to get him the ball. Finally, he's doing it, right? Brandon Ayuk every week is looking like a true wide receiver 1. And I'm like, it's here, finally, right? And then what happens? The one constant that the 49ers have had all year, their defense has looked incredible. They go out, and it is Patrick Mahomes, it is Andy Reid, but they go out and have maybe the worst defensive game I've seen under the Kyle Shanahan-led 49ers. I have never seen more missed tackles. Again, they had 10 penalties for 90 whatever yards. They're one of the most penalized teams in the NFL. Like, Kyle Shanahan has absolutely no discipline going right now. So it's like, do I think that the end of the season is here? No, unfortunately not. I think like 2019 or like last year, we're going to think that the world is falling down until they get a little momentum and start to realize that they've got some of the best players in the NFL all on one team. They're going to win a bunch of games. We'll probably end up with 10 wins. They'll go into the playoffs, and who knows what'll happen there. But like, the team needs to figure out the discipline stuff, the missed tackles, the penalties. It's insane. And I want off this ride so badly. Like, one of the most cathartic feelings on earth when Trey Lance was starting was that, good or bad, whatever happened with the Trey Lance experience we would be removed from this Jimmy Garoppolo versus Kyle Shanahan, nothing works, but everything works, like roller coaster ride. And when Trey got injured, I was like, we're cursed again with one more year of this, of people constantly arguing about Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, like, dog, Jimmy's probably having the best season he's had ever as a quarterback. But of course, as God willing, he's had some of the most bonehead mistakes I've ever seen a quarterback make, so that, like, you can't even appreciate the good. All anybody wants to talk about is get this man off my team. And he's the backup quarterback. I'm in a nightmare and I can't get out.
Oh, that was great. That was a good, that felt really good. JP, I think I don't know where to go from there. That was good. Do you have the same takes on the Niners? Can you offer any hope for Evan's 49ers?
So what I will say was, you know how they have complete team wins where like they win in all three phases? It was a complete loss for the 49ers. All three didn't look bad, didn't look good at all. The one solace was Christian McCaffrey looked great. That you can take pride in that. But I think the Jimmy G thing is really interesting because Jimmy G is two different quarterbacks. There's Jimmy G and then there's Jimmy G against the blitz. He immediately shuts off against the blitz. I think the interception they threw in the end zone, they blitzed him and he's just sitting there. He knows that the blitz is there and he's just drifting backwards. He's drifting back further and further and further until he throws up a rainbow ball that ends up 2 yards short of the end zone. So you're just like, dude, you see it coming. You see it here. Why are you not throwing it away? What's going on? Like, I feel like the inside of like Jimmy G's internal clock, like the inside of his brain against the blitz is like the little Sonic thing where like Sonic is underwater. It's like it's that with Jimmy G. It's like the clock is ring, the bell is ringing. It's time to go. It's time to go.
Have some of the most clutch, like throwing it into the like tightest window passes I've ever seen in my life. Like he's like, it doesn't make that pass. The interception was supposed to be to George Kittle. Watch the play. The ball was nowhere near George Kittle. Ray McLeod, who, by the way, as a receiver, shouldn't even be on the field. He should only be returning kicks. Ray literally didn't even jump up because he thought there was no world in which that ball was going to him. And guess what? It wasn't, because it went to the defender.
And it's so weird because, like you said, like when the book is open for Jimmy G, when Kyle Shanahan says, okay, you throw it here, or here, Jimmy G can do that. He can execute the controls. He's like a robot. He knows if the processing, if my iOS says throw it here, he'll do that. Yep. But when it's time to improvise, it doesn't compute for him. It's not going. So I think that's just what Jimmy G is. That's who Jimmy G is. I think the Niners know that by now, and now it's just how are we going to help him the best way that we can. And I think having Christian McCaffrey will help you do that. Like I said, Christian McCaffrey looked great. And I think the offense probably won't be as bad as it was on Sunday.
They didn't even throw screens.
They basically just said, hey, go over there and I'll throw it to you. Like, run in that area. He didn't know the offense, and he still had a lot of burst, had a lot of acceleration. He looked good. The defense will definitely not have another performance like that. I have a lot of faith in D'Amico Ryans. I have a lot of faith in that defensive core. They're not going to repeat that same performance. I think Kansas City came in with an amazing game plan of just using the Niners' aggression against them, where like all the Niners defensive ends line up in wide 9 alignments where they're super wide outside the tackle. They're like in a 4-point stance. Nick Bosa, when he does that little hand up thing, that's basically like he's winding himself up to go as fast as he can towards the quarterback. And then the Chiefs will just let him run past. The Clyde Edwards-Helaire touchdown. Nick Bosa takes off 6 yards down the field, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire just runs right past him.
That was another thing, too, I would like to say. Andy Reid, absolute masterclass. Like, absolute masterclass. Andy Reid eviscerated that defense. He just literally, it's insane that they didn't make any adjustments, but he took everything that was good about Nick Bosa and like on some Aikido stuff was just like reverse. No, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just.
I think
the Niners, D'Amico Ryan spit a lot of time. He's like, who do we feel really good that won't beat us? McCall Hardman. Like, Chiefs Twitter hates McCall Hardman. They're over the McCall Hardman experience. And then it's like, no, we're going to use McCall Hardman this week.
The 49ers have been making the players look good that shouldn't look good for so many years. Yeah. I mean, remember who Kyle Pitts scored a touchdown against.
Well, hold on. We don't need to do that yet.
I'm just saying, like, I like Kyle Pitts, but like no one was going to
on track for 10 touchdowns in 10 years. People forget.
I mean, Fred Warner looked terrible and he's incredible. Nick Bosa looked terrible and he's incredible. Charvarius Ward has looked incredible and he was terrible. I thought he was a double agent yesterday.
It was really bad. It was real bad. I think the play that kind of stands out is the Juju Smith-Schuster touchdown.
Which one?
Travis Kelce's running like a deep out, and Fred Warner just hauls ass trying to get under the Travis Kelce out route, and Juju Smith-Schuster just runs right where he was supposed to be, and he's wide open. I'm just like, okay, Andy Reid's got this. Like, he has schemed up this entire game plan for that. He schemed up like he used the entire week. No off days, 24/7, just finding whatever the Niners, like every small little tick, it was going to be exposed for a big game.
Andy Reid is literally an older, like more mature Kyle Shanahan. Like he like Kyle just goes off of like vibes, right? Like he is that smart. He can scheme the world open. You know, the first series of the game just looks like they're the most dominant team in the NFL every single week. But like Andy Reid does that for an entire game. And he also has Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, he's got the best quarterback in the NFL. Sure. But like Kyle Shanahan is, I feel like he's going purely off talent. I think he just like, he's got this brain. Like, it's like what every like teacher told me when I was like growing up. They're like, you're really smart, Evan, but you got to learn to apply it. And I feel like Kyle's out there just like, no, they told me I'm a genius. Like I don't need to study. Like, dog, I'm not going to study for this test. And he does really well for a little bit, but then it just like immediately burns out. See, how do you have Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle? Those are all yak. Like, you don't even have to try. Just 3-yard passes to any of them and let them do their thing. And they couldn't do that. They couldn't do that.
I think the biggest thing was, I think Steve Spagnuolo is a really bad matchup for Jimmy G. And I say that because Steve Spagnuolo is, one, not afraid to blitz. Two, he will find the weakest link on the offensive line, and he'll just line Chris Jones up over him. So the weakest link on the Niners offensive line is on the right side. It can be McGlinchey, it can be the right guard. Chris Jones basically just lined up over there and said, hey, you deal with him. And then they'll just bring blitzes. And like I said, Jimmy G is a completely different quarterback against the blitz. So I think
nothing special. Just this is what we're gonna do, and that's even meaner. Is like, I'm sure Shanahan knew all week. It's like, oh, this is what Spag's gonna do. He's gonna put Chris Jones on him, and we don't really have an answer. So Jimmy, get ready.
See, I think he knew what the play. Like, he knew the scheme, like the process wise. I think the process was fine. It's just the execution, and I don't think Kyle Shanahan can do anything more because he's not quarterback. Like, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, I also just feel like at this point, like Anthony Lynn was a really exciting hire for me in the offseason with Bobby Turner out. I was like, Anthony Lynn, like, he's the adult in the room. He's got head coaching experience. Like, he can do a pretty good job working with Kyle. Like, maybe he can be that like voice that's like, hey, maybe do this. But like, I don't even know. Like, and I don't know if you're supposed to know as a fan, but like, there's nothing on the DNA of this team that I can point to that's like, oh, this was probably Anthony Lynn. I don't know, but like, I feel like offensive coordinators, I mean, he's like an assistant head coach. Like, I feel like sometimes you can see the identity, but like, everything just is like engulfed in what the world of Kyle. Like, it's all Kyle. And like, another thing is like, Danny Gray is a very exciting SMU receiver that's very fast, one of the fastest receivers in the NFL. Kyle will bring him in for one play a game, and it's an obvious bomb. And it's so obvious that like the teams know exactly how to like defend it. Like the corner or was safety, I don't know who it was that was defending that pass, like was step for step, knew exactly where the ball was coming. And like it was a beautiful throw by Jimmy. Again, a throw that no one thinks he can make. And like he just the corner just put this hand exactly where he knew the ball was going to be to defend it. And the same thing goes with Debo as a running back, like this exciting thing from last year that does not work anymore. Like if I see one more Debo rushing attempt, I'm going to strangle myself. Like
he might just exit the game. He's just going to say no. He might
like it's like he does it 2 or 3 times a game now, and it's the most you see Debo in the backfield, and it's like, well, we know what to do.
Yeah.
And it's just insane. Like, how on earth can you get Christian McCaffrey on your team and go, well, I think I'll rush with Debo? Like, no rushing attempt should ever go to Debo anymore. It should go to Christian McCaffrey. I don't care if he knows the offense.
Well, hey, hold on. Christian McCaffrey, he went to Stanford. And when you go to Stanford, you can pick up the offense in a couple days. People forget.
Right, I know. We got white guy that goes to Stanford. They won't shut the hell up about it. Like you think he's like learning anything at Stanford? Dog, he was out.
An all-time tweet from a certain not named person. An all-time tweet.
But yeah, I mean that's another thing too. Like I just it's insane how much parity there. Like there's just no middle ground. Kyle Shanahan is either a genius one time or he's just insane and so boneheaded, stupid some other times.
Y'all gotta be watching this on youtube.com/Chase Thomas podcast because Evan is having just a full-on just meltdown, Michael Jordan moment with his facial reactions and motions and everything. Just really, you're going through the Rolodex of all the different feelings. It's great.
If you were to tell me that Jimmy threw for 2 touchdowns and 300 yards, that George Kittle had almost 100 yards or 100 yards receiving, right? If you were to tell me that Christian McCaffrey came out and looked good in his first game, like I'd be like, oh, they probably had a pretty good chance to win that game. Yeah. No way. One of the worst losses they've ever had.
Oh, man. Speaking of bad losses, the Atlanta Falcons lost. They got blown out yesterday by Cincinnati. And I was on a Cincinnati show yesterday morning ahead of the game. And what I said was like, I expected Tyler Boyd to just dice this team up. And I was like, all right, Casey Hayward's gone for the year. It's going to be Isaiah Oliver. And let's see what Hall looks like after he really showed a lot. And this 2022 draft class for Terry Fontenot is 10 out of 10. Like it's looking like a home run draft. And I think the last 2 drafts are really, really looking good. So I'm excited on that front. That being said, when you have a practice squad player getting matched up on Jamar Chase and there's really just nothing you can do, you look at it and you're like, I was sitting there on my notes and I was like, well, this is over. Like AJ Terrell tweaks his hamstring and that's it. Like it was one of those where I'm like, there's nothing, not even Zach Taylor could just be like, oh, let's just get cute. And we'll keep running the ball with Mixon and we'll keep doing some underneath stuff. No, they were like, we're just going to go over the top and we're just going to use our 11 personnel and just beat you to death with Higgins and company. Hayden Hurst, the former Atlanta Falcon legend, had a great game in this one. Basically, anyone who got matched up with anyone out wide for the Falcons in this one had a great game. There was just nothing you could do. It was one of the more helpless games I've ever watched for the Falcons where I was like, there's no path because Marcus Mariota, when you watch the Falcons and what Arthur Smith is doing each week, it works in a lot of ways. This week it did not. They were not able to run the football. And I've said where I'm like, if the Falcons are down early, it's over. Like this is not a team that's going to play from behind at all this year. Like if they played the Niners a certain way and that wins, like they can win that way against the best of the best. Like if things go that way, great. If you get up on the Falcons, I don't know why every team doesn't take deep shots. I don't know why every team doesn't start fast and pull out the best stuff possible against the Falcons because they have Mariota's just not that guy. He throws 13 passes in this one. AJ Terrell, it looks like he's going to be gone for a minute. Like hamstring injuries just don't improve middle of the season and they need time and rest or you risk just really just tearing your hamstring. And then that's just, it's bleak right now for AJ Terrell in the group for the Falcons. So they threw all over him. But you know what also doesn't help? When you have the 31st pass rush grade. So it's like if your corners are already on an island and like Richie Grant and company are already being asked to do a heck of a lot, you need some sort of pass rush to balance this out a little bit, where it's like, all right, we're banged up in the secondary, but we're going to get after the quarterback. We're gonna make lives a little bit easier for them. We're going to send. They never blitzed. Like, there was no like, they were in zone. Dean Pease was like, I don't trust any of our dudes back here, so we're not sending anybody. We're dropping 7, dropping 8, and we're gonna make the Bengals beat us through the air with Joe Burrow getting time. Joe Burrow with time is really good. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Joe Burrow just sitting in the pocket doing his own thing was great. And I mean, almost 500 yards for him. Drake London had 1 target and 1 catch. I don't know what happened with the Drake London offense. Pitts was stifled. This just sucked. I hated all of this. Yes, Evan.
I don't care. I'm not waiting till the end of this podcast to talk about how James Robinson from the Jacksonville Jaguars has just been traded to the New York Jets.
Oh.
Hold on.
I am sorry, brother.
You just JP needs a second. This is an amazing live reaction shot. I love this.
Rappaport, sources, the Jets are making a big trade acquiring Jaguars running back James Robinson to help replace injured Breece Hall. Draft pick compensation is going back to the Jags.
You know, I kind of felt like it was going to happen, especially after Travis Etienne got like every snap last week and like every snap the week before that. But man, it sucks. Like, this sucks. James Robinson was one of my favorite Jaguars players. Just seeing him go from being an undrafted guy to an 1,000-yard rusher. I think he has the most rushes. I think he has most rushing yards for an undrafted player in Jaguars history. Was almost a Pro Bowler. Tears his Achilles last year in whatever last year was. Comes back a lot earlier than we all expected. He busts off a 35-yard touchdown run against the Commanders, and we're just like, man, this could be really fun. We're reminiscing of Thunder and Lightning. Fred Taylor, Maurice Jones-Drew with Travis Etienne and James Robinson. But it's very clear that Travis Etienne has a gear that James Robinson doesn't have. Yeah. And I think he's a better fit for this offense at this point in time because the Jaguars don't have anybody fast. It does really suck, though. I
will say this. He is an undrafted player. To get any type of good compensation for an undrafted player, that could be a win. And the Jets have a lot of draft picks. But if it's like a 6th round pick, dog, I don't know, man.
See, I'm thinking it's going to be a day 2. It's either going to be a day 2 or multiple day 3s. I'd rather just the day 2.
But
I don't know, man.
You don't give away talent when you're rebuilding, to me. Like, I understand that Etienne played well and all that, but like, you don't give away good talent when you're rebuilding. And James Robinson is good talent. So,
but if you're not going to play him, like JB said, where it's just like all the snaps are going to Etienne now, it's like you might as well sell high before the value just tanks even more. I mean, the Jets were desperate. They took advantage of a desperate team. That's good.
I am a biased 49ers fan where every running back we have gets injured. So
that's not great.
No, oh my gosh, that is pretty.
That's wild. Shout out to the Jets though. They're going for it, man. The Jets are like, this sucks. We're not having fun. Like Zach Wilson is never going to be allowed to throw 20 times a game. Breece Hall gone for the year. The vibes are good. We're going for it. Like, why not? Go Gang Green. Like, that's great because also the AFC East, do they have 4 playoff teams? Do we have to have the 4 playoff teams in the AFC East conversation? JP, do we have to do it? It's time.
Compensation update. The Jets are trading a 6th round pick that could become a 5th round
pick. Oh, that's
pick.
Not great. Oh, we just ruined it for JP.
Oh, no. My gosh.
Oh, no. Oh.
They traded a 6th round pick for James Robinson.
That's good value.
Yeah, for the Jets. Congrats to them.
Oh, it's your dude. It's Trent Baalke. Trent Baalke has entered the chat.
Trent Baalke is one of the worst GMs I've ever been around in my lifetime.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
You couldn't hold on. Also, could you not have gotten just expanded this trade if you're Jacksonville? Because you just talked about they need difference makers out wide. If you're gonna move on from James Robinson, be like, hey, Denzel Mims and Elijah Moore both want to be out of there. How are you not including them? What are we doing? How are they not a part of the trade?
I have no words.
The Jets want to trade both those guys want out. You can't get one of them?
Both those guys don't want to be here.
Yes.
Both of them have a modicum of speed that would really be helpful on Jacksonville.
Yeah.
You get a 6th-round pick that could turn into a 5th.
I'd rather have one of those two wideouts in the pick. Like, I don't even care if I get pick compensation. No, give me one of those wideouts who doesn't want to be there.
I mean, it fits for the Jets. I think they need running back help now that Breece Hall is out for the year. But I still have the belief that the Jets would actually be a serious contender if they had a serious person at quarterback.
Oh, man.
So, like, I just haven't been impressed that much by Zach Wilson. I know he's coming off of injury, but he's got...
He's thrown the ball like 7 times in the games he's been back.
I'm gonna try and be very careful when I say this, but he's got very much Jimmy G tendencies.
Oh,
where like if you blitz him, he turns into like a pumpkin, and it's just not working well at all. I think he thinks that he's a much better athlete than he is. Because like he'll try and escape pressure where he's like turning his back to the defense while defenders right in front of him. And I'm like, buddy, please just throw it away.
This is not BYU.
Yeah,
this is not the Mountain West Conference. You're not going up against Nevada.
You don't have the facilities for that.
Yeah,
that's not good.
So, like, I mean, yeah, Zach Wilson threw 26 passes for 121 yards. Like,
but if you watch them, they don't trust him at all. They don't want him throwing at all. They're just
Once again, it's the Jimmy G experience, and it's quite literally the team that had schemed for Jimmy G for 2 years or whatever. You know, with the team. But the one thing I will say though is they're 5-2.
I think they're a less fraudulent 5-2 than the Giants. I think there's more belief for me in the Jets than the Giants. I'm a bigger believer this year in them.
I don't think so because I think the biggest thing with the Giants is just getting everybody back healthy. Like they're 6-1 and they still don't have a operational receiver outside of Darius Slayton.
Well, so Wan'Dale Robinson's going to be a dude. I loved him at Kentucky, and he's playing now, which is huge for them.
Wan'Dale's fun. Hopefully, like Kenny Galladay, like can actually like play football, and
I think that ship might have sailed.
He's not injured, but I think their biggest thing is like everybody's hurt. Eventually everybody won't be hurt. With the Jets, I have the biggest question at quarterback. Like everything is set up right now for Zach Wilson to be a good quarterback.
Oh, I have a trade for you, JP. This is how we fix it. You ready for the mega trade? This is what you do. If you're going all in, you're trading for James Robinson, and you're just like, hey, we're the Jets, and we have had just nothing but hell for a decade now, and we were finally out of the rebuild. Do you know who else is in hell? Do you know who else is in hell? This is the perfect season for the quarterback mega trade. And look, there is not a better storyline out there right now than bringing Tom Brady back to the AFC East. Give me Brady on the Jets for the last 2 years of his career. Brady with this group, with those receivers, with that defense, give me Brady. He almost went to the Niners and joined that Shanahan scheme a couple years ago. He's pissed. He hates it.
Twice a year. They still haven't played the Patriots yet. So they play the Patriots twice a year.
Can we do it? Why not?
Let's get him on the phone right now.
Yeah.
Goodell's
even not him. There's another option. Do you know who else hates his life? He's up there. He's used to cold weather. He's not really enjoying his experience there. Again, another Shanahan disciple up there in Matt LaFleur. He just goes over to play for the brother in New York, Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, what people called Zach Wilson Aaron Rodgers when he was coming out of college. Why not go get the real thing instead of the wish copy?
Who do you think would be more fun? What's the more fun storyline? Rodgers or Brady to the Jets?
Ooh. I think Rodgers.
I think it's Rodgers.
I just want Aaron Rodgers in the New York media. That's what I want. Like Tom Brady has he's got he's an ass. He can go, he can handle them. But like Aaron Rodgers in his little hippie soft little whatever undercut man bun that he has now, he would get absolutely torn apart by the New York media.
Brady would just be fun though, because like you have the New York thing, obviously with Eli, he goes to the other New York team. Just gets to play Belichick twice. Belichick, of course, almost the Jets head coach, does not become the Jets. There are so many layers to Brady on the Jets that would be just top notch. I want this to happen so bad. Give that to me.
See, I would go Rodgers because I think Rodgers just actively hates where he is right now. Like he just doesn't want to be there. So like get him somewhere where he's actually like enjoying.
So where's the team? Where's the destination, JP? Where do you send Rodgers? Where do you think he'd be most happy? It makes the most sense football wise.
I mean, there were rumors before the season that Aaron Rodgers was on his way to Denver.
How do you do that? You can't get off the Russell
Wilson
stuff yet. You got to ride this one out.
They both have extremely large contracts. Like they're both getting like $60 million a year.
Russ getting trade. Oh, so you're talking about a swap. You're swapping Wilson for Rodgers.
There's no way. There's no way anyone is trading for Russell Wilson right now.
Also, tweet would be hilarious. Can you imagine telling Sierra, "Hey, by the way, we're going to Green Bay. Like, you're going to Lambeau."
I hope you like cold weather.
There's no like. There's chaos right now. But Russell Wilson being terrible warms my heart. Warms my heart. Seeing that corny loser.
I mean, it's not great that literally every teammate is just not coming to his defense. Like, there's no one out there who's played with Russell Wilson during the Seattle days been like, hold on, y'all got it all wrong.
You can't look at me.
Offense, like the offense that he left last year that was supposed to be really bad and not conducive to any success is one of the best offenses in the league.
Yeah.
When he leaves. That just doesn't look great, especially now that the Broncos are struggling to score double digits.
Yeah.
You cannot have every one of his former teammates talk about how miserable he was and that if they wanted to even talk to him, they'd have to reach out to his agent. And then also have him come over here and just be miserable. And then on top of that, you have like the what was it? The Kyle story from NFL Network where he was like basically saying that they went to like a pre-show or something like that, and they tried to go up and talk to him, and he like just was like no. Anyways, yeah, I wish nothing but bad things for Russell.
I want a big trade. We never get this mid-season big quarterback trade. Like this is, if there was ever a year for something like that to happen, I think this is the year for something like that to happen with Brady or Rodgers. What do you think, JP? Do you think ultimately one of those guys gets moved before the end of the year?
I don't think so. I think this is ultimately going to be Brady's last year. I think he's done after this, and I honestly don't think you can get out of that Rodgers contract. Like, I think for the most part, it is on Aaron Rodgers. Like, he has not looked great at all, especially throwing the ball downfield. But it is also like, this is the process that they asked for. This is the results of the process they went through in the offseason. They knew they weren't going to have a lot of very good receivers after trading Devontae Adams. This is the result. This is what it looks like. And it kind of reminds me a little bit because everything is so tight. It's so constrained. They can't get any big plays. It looks a lot like the Miami Dolphins last year before they went and got some.
Oh, wow.
Receiver. It look. They just don't have anybody who can consistently catch the ball downfield. Like Romeo Doubs is fast, but he's not exactly like in Aaron Rodgers' good graces right now. Amari Rodgers might not even be like on the team by like a few weeks.
Aaron Rodgers,
you want to read some tweets? Read some Amari Rodgers Packer writers, fans tweets where it's like he's maybe the worst Packer draft choice ever. Like, it's bad. The Amari Rodgers stuff, which is weird because I mean I watched him a lot at Clemson. I never thought Amari Rodgers would struggle like this in the NFL. Like, it's a disaster.
It just looks really weird. Like their offense looks constrained. It's constrained to Aaron Jones or AJ Dillon 3-yard runs and the RPOs. And that stuff works until everybody's just sitting on the RPOs and sitting on the runs because you can't throw the ball deep. You have nobody get separation, and Aaron Rodgers is slightly declining. This is what happens when you get old. He's getting old, so now the deep throws, they just won't be working right now. And
I want you guys to I want you guys to understand as you were talking about it. Tom Brady will be a 49er next season.
Oh wow.
I'm not joking. There's no way Tom Brady goes out sad like this season is like shaping up to be. And I like Trey Lance, as much as I love him and I'm excited for him, He played one season of college football. He sat out another.
Oh no, Evan's selling the Trey Lance stock. It's over.
No,
He's
it's not
moving
that
on. He's getting ready for the breakup.
It's not that I'm selling it. It's that you can't look at what happened this season. You can't, like, if Tom Brady goes, I refuse to go out like this. Kyle, you have the defense, you have the offense. It's me. All you've ever needed was me.
I mean, the Bucks could be in the market for a young quarterback if they want to just reset the post Brady thing.
Dude, Jimmy goes there. Jimmy, he's a free agent, baby. Jimmy goes there. You get Tom Brady Jr., a safe bet.
Give Tom Moore, offensive mastermind, Trey Lance in 2023.
No, I think they might be cleaning house.
I don't know. Like, that's fun though. This is going to be a crazy, crazy situation to monitor the rest of the way. But I was only half joking, JP, like about the AFC East having 4 playoff teams. Are we sure they don't at least get 2? I think they're a lock for 2. And I mean, the Patriots on the upswing, the Jets on the upswing, the Dolphins back on track with Tua healthy. Obviously, the Bills are just a lock and maybe the best team in football. Like the AFC East.
2 is a guarantee.
They're a guarantee. But what I'm saying is, like, there you go. Like, there's a path to a couple. Because I mean, you look at the AFC West, where we thought we were going to get 3 before the season. They're getting 1. Like, the AFC West is getting 1. AFC North probably going to get 2. AFC South probably only getting 1. I think there's a path for 3 AFC East playoff teams. I think there's a strong path for it.
I think there is, but I just don't trust any of the teams in the division. Like I said with the Jets, like I don't trust Zach Wilson to make any throws when it comes time to actually throw the ball to win a game.
Yeah.
Like every time the Jets play and Zach Wilson is at quarterback, it reminds me of the playoff game where Jimmy G only threw 8 passes, but they won by like 30 against the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
That's every time they play. Because their run game is so good, Zach Wilson doesn't have to throw the ball much. But you can see when he actually throws the ball, it's just not working.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't trust the Jets quarterback. I don't trust the Patriots, like, in general offense, because even with Bailey Zappi in, they've played the worst defense in football. They played the Detroit Lions, and they've also played, oh gosh, who did they play yesterday?
Who?
The Patriots. They play the Bears
tonight. Yeah, no, they're playing right now. Yeah.
So
maybe the worst quarterback in football tonight.
Against a team, I actually want to see them play against a team that actually has a pulse on defense, and then I'll be able to create actually some kind of opinion on the Patriots. That's like, hey, maybe when Mac Jones gets back, they may be kind of frisky, but I don't know. I don't think this is going to be a playoff team. The offense is still being run by Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, which I still have my doubts about. And they don't really have a wide receiver 1. They have a bunch of very good wide receiver 2 to 4s. But I think a lot like the Jaguars, when it comes time to need a wide receiver 1, you don't have that guy, your offense becomes constrained. So I think the AFC East will get 2 teams. Miami's going to look really good. They're going to look better than they were yesterday. The Bills are a lock, practically. But I have a lot of big questions about the other 2.
Evan, Seahawks lead the NFC West, just like we all predicted on October 24th, 2022. Is this sustainable? Like Geno in this offense, is it sustainable that they actually could win this division? Are you ready to talk yourself into the Seahawks actually hosting a playoff game in January?
You know, I got to say, if all we can do is look at what we've seen so far, I think it's realistic because they've played very good football. That said, you know, they've had a little bit of a different start to the season than the 49ers did, right? Like their start to the season, as far as I'm concerned, was maybe a little bit easier. You know, they played the Broncos, we all know about. They played the Niners and Falcons. They should have beat the Falcons. I'm surprised they didn't. But they also played the Lions, the Saints, the Cardinals, the Chargers, who are injured at every position, as bad as the 49ers. So they've got the Giants, they got the Cardinals, Bucks. Like, that's the thing. Like the Niners and the Seahawks both have a very easy schedule ahead, but they do play the Chiefs. And I think that's not till Christmas. So I'm very curious. if the 49ers have a completely healthy team, if somehow they get back and they're healthy, they literally have a winnable game every week for the rest of the season. The Rams, you know how they play against the Rams. The Chargers are just injured all over the place. The Cardinals, the Saints, the Dolphins, the Bucks, Seahawks again, the Commanders, the Raiders, and the Cardinals. Will they win every single game? No, probably not. But if they could figure out how to exist with the talent that they have, if Kyle can figure out how to not suck for 3 quarters, they should be able to win every game. So do the Seahawks get in the playoffs? It's possible, but I think the Seahawks schedule is a little bit harder than the 49ers schedule to end the season. And the 49ers have this talented roster. If they don't win, if the Seahawks, win the NFC West, I mean, you can't fire Kyle Shanahan, but maybe take him out back and give him a wedgie. Like, give him a swirly. I don't know. I've been leading the bully Kyle Shanahan, movement for 3 years now. Like, he needs to be bullied more. He is a nepotism, boy genius, and like that ego needs to get checked. And I think the Seahawks could very well win the NFC West if you don't bully this nerd.
I will
Bullying
say
works.
The Niners were the only team to make Geno Smith look mortal, which is the only thing which is the craziest thing that's ever been said in 2022.
Explain it, JP. Like, his throws, like, he had a great laser touchdown to Goodwin in this game on Sunday. Like, I watched him against the Falcons carve up the Seahawks. We'll wait and see. Have they announced what happened to DK yet? Is he gone for the year?
I don't think he's gone for the year. I think he's just I think it's a patella injury, but I don't think
no surgery. But
okay, then that's good. So they'll have him back. Watching AJ Terrell try to stay with DK over and over again was not fair. DK is just a very large human, and I don't know. Like, what have you seen? Like, what has popped the most for you for Geno? Like, what kind of throws is he making that just you're like, this is both sustainable and also scary?
I think it's the confidence that he's making these throws with. Like, I think being in the second year in this offense with Shane Waldron, in the second year with this receiving core, having a retooled offensive line. The Seahawks have 2 like franchise tackles. Abraham Lucas and Charles Cross have both played fantastic. So I think having that protection, while also having the receivers, and he's just throwing with confidence. Like, on the grand scheme of things, like, Geno's playing with house money right now. He wasn't supposed to be in this moment. He wasn't supposed to be this guy. So he's just playing like he has no pressure on him at all, which is really fun to see. Like, I think there was a throw against the Saints where Tyler Lockett ran like a deep post, and it's not open until Geno Smith throws it, and it lands right in Tyler Lockett's hands. I'm like, whoa. Only a few quarterbacks make that throw, and I didn't think Geno was one of them. So it's really been fun watching him throw the ball with confidence and accuracy. Like, I think he doesn't have the strongest arm, which we knew that. But he's throwing with accuracy, he's throwing with timing, and he's also throwing off platform. He's doing a lot of stuff that Russ couldn't do, which is give them access over the middle of the field because he can actually like see over the middle of the field.
By the way, short kings are taking big losses this year when it comes to being able to see over the field. There's a lot of batted balls, a lot of issues with the short king quarterbacks this year. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to continue on with Young, but
Bryce Young, man, he is a player. That dude is just watching him. I mean,
so was Baker Mayfield. So was Johnny Manziel. He's a player.
I think he's significant. JB, you could probably speak more to this than I could. I would say he's significantly safer than either of those two. I think
if we're just comparing short quarterbacks, Bryce Young is probably the best since like Kyler.
Yeah.
Because he's not the same athlete that Kyler Murray was. Kyler is an exceptional athlete. But what Bryce Young does is he has a much quicker process in the pocket than Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield or Johnny Manziel. He doesn't rely as much on the crazy stuff out of the pocket. The highlights that you see from Bryce Young, those are only when he has to do it.
Yeah.
He's a really good quarterback from the pocket because he knows where everything is. He's so good post snap at reading defenses. He
also doesn't want to run.
Yeah, he can run.
But he doesn't want to. Like the Tennessee game, I highly encourage people to watch it. Like he's like when the pocket breaks down, he's fine dancing and he's fine moving, and he'll wait for. He loves nothing more than a linebacker who's spying him to bite, thinking he's finally going to take off, and then just lofting this perfect ball right over his head for an easy touchdown. He did that in the Tennessee. Like that's what he does. He's unbelievable at that.
And I think people need to watch back that Tennessee game just to see what Bryce Young was doing the entire
or
game.
Just see that Tennessee won. People forget.
People forget that. But people need to see Bryce Young was setting protections. He was changing protections against blitzes. There would be like 10 seconds left on the play clock. He's changing the play at the line of scrimmage and then getting them into the offense. You don't see that kind of stuff from a college quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think Johnny Manziel was doing that.
Yeah, Johnny Manziel's not setting protections. That's not what Johnny does. So I think Bryce Young has a clear potential as a NFL quarterback. I think the size, it's not that just stays like 6 feet or like 5'10" or 5'11". It's the frame. Like he's not just short, he's kind of small.
Yeah.
Which will scare away evaluators. But dude's legitimately like, if it weren't for CJ Stroud, he'd probably be like QB1.
I think he's my QB1. I forgot who it was who said, I think it may have been Joel Klatt who said he's Aaron Rodgers, but smaller. Like that's who he's most like, is he's like an Aaron Rodgers, but just significantly shorter.
I hate doing comps like early.
Do you see that though a little bit?
I see it a little bit in the feel for the game.
Yeah.
I hate doing comps. Yeah, but how about a comp?
That's what you always have to do because people love comps. It's like one of the things we hate it, but we love comps.
I see it a little bit in the feel for the game. Like people are going to automatically compare him to Russell Wilson, but I think Russ was a better quarterback, not better quarterback, but a better athlete. I don't think Bryce Young is like this super duper athlete, but he's a much better quarterback at this level than Russell Wilson was at that level that Bryce Young is at now. Like, of course, he's not the same quarterback as Russell Wilson, like peak Russell Wilson. But I think Bryce Young is a better quarterback in terms of processing and accuracy right now.
Yep.
I like it. Last thing before we do our pick'em for this week, I wanted to mention Matt Ryan. Pour one out for my dude. He was benched today. Frank Reich admitted that he failed Matt Ryan. Yes, he did. Yes, he did fail Matt Ryan, who was traded among just horrible circumstances in Atlanta. But look, Matt Ryan, great career. I don't know if this is it. It's probably not a great sign that this is where things are headed with Sam Ehlinger starting the rest of the way. This was from Twitter, quote, Frank Reich, he openly admitting what we've been writing for weeks, that the Colts didn't hold up their end of the bargain with Matt Ryan regarding a great O-line and great run game. We didn't deliver, was what he said. This is a bonker stat, by the way. Bonkers. Sam Ehlinger will be the Colts' 7th different starting quarterback under head coach Frank Reich since 2018.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Like, you can look at all the process behind Chris Ballard, Frank Reich era in Indianapolis. They've built everything relatively well except for quarterback. They have consistently swung and missed at the most important position in the sport. The evaluation has not been very good there. And
well,
now
they treat it like a bargain bin shopping.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like you're trying to get your car up and running. It needs an engine, so you go to the junkyard to find it. Right. Like that's just bad process. Go get a new engine. Like go find it.
It's like you want a nice coat for the winter, so you go try to get it at H&M. It's like that's not like. Does it look nice?
Looks good. It's not going to keep you warm though.
But is it going to last through like an actual winter? Absolutely not.
And like now that things are starting to get a little worse in the supporting cast, Quentin Nelson's getting older, getting more injured. His play has dropped off since 2019. Shaquille Leonard has been injured a lot. I think he's only played in like 2 games this year. DeForest Buckner has also been injured. This core of the young talent that was there when you had Andrew Luck for that first couple of years, when you had Phillip Rivers, which is arguably the best post-Luck team that the Colts have had with Phillip Rivers at quarterback.
That's wild.
Now that you don't have that supporting cast, it's going to be on the quarterback to help elevate that play. And Matt Ryan just can't do that right now. He's 37. You can't ask 37-year-old Matt Ryan to elevate an offense at this point. Like that's not being fair to him. First of all, like
Yeah,
Matt Ryan's not going to do that right now. Maybe if you would have gotten him in like 2016, like 6 years ago, sure, but
yeah.
he's not the same quarterback. So I think on a grander scheme of things, this was a failure by Chris Ballard and Frank Reich and the organization. Just the process since Andrew Luck is retired in finding a quarterback.
I hate it. But we'll see what happens ultimately with Matty Ice, but this is not great. Maybe another trade target though. The fact that they benched him, are we sure that like we mentioned the Jets, the Niners? Where do we send Matt Ryan to? Where do we send my guy? Where can he go?
If we get Matt Ryan, that would be an upgrade, maybe. I don't know. Is he that bad? I don't know. Jimmy's playing good football.
I think this is his last year. I've always thought this was going to be it for Matt Ryan. The one last
him and Stafford going out together.
Yeah, let's go try and chase a title and see what happens.
We might see like a literal bloodbath at the quarterback position. Like you might see Brady, Matt Ryan, Matt Stafford, like who? Like there's a lot of quarterbacks that we might see retire.
Like, if Matt Ryan, Brady retire, Aaron Rodgers hasn't looked great. Who is now the old guard at quarterback? Is it Stafford? Is it Kirk Cousins?
Derek Carr?
Derek Carr is now the old guys.
Ryan Tannehill.
What about Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson, like
if Russell Wilson's in a situation where every single person around him hates him, he's not even playing good football anymore, and like, where else do you go? Like, think about that wannabe cool guy in high school that everybody hated because he had such an ego. Like, there's no lunch table for him to sit at anymore. Like, he's gonna have to go home.
Well, the problem with that is you didn't pay the guy who wanted to be cool in high school $250 million. There's a big reason why you can't move him, like a $250 million reason.
No, what if he retires?
I don't think he's going to retire. I think he is that much of a competitor to where I'm going to try and turn this around and try and win some games for this team. I doubt he retires.
I think Brady plays until he actually is forced injury-wise to not play. I think the fact that he's gone down this road, I think he's like sticking to it where he's like, I'm literally not playing until I physically cannot do it. Like the Peyton Manning thing with his neck where it was just 9 TDs, 17 picks, won the Super Bowl, but like he had nothing physically left.
I hate to say it like this, but like, are we sure he's going to last behind that offensive line?
That's true.
I'm telling you, I genuinely think he's a 49er next year. I do. I'm not. I'm not there yet where I'll bet money, but I think it's
almost a Dolphin this year.
He was almost a 49er 4 years ago. Like I think it might happen. We'll see.
I want a Brady midseason trade. We need the Brady midseason trade. Evan, are you ready for our pick'em with our special guest JP Acosta?
Absolutely. What week are we going into? Is this week?
What is this? 8, 9, 8? Right? I think this is week 8.
I swear this season is going by fast and not because of good reasons. I am miserable. We are going to decide who we think is going to win or lose each game this week. JP, we're going to start out with you with the Ravens and Bucks Thursday night football.
See, if there's a get right game that the Bucks could use, it's against a Ravens defense that played relatively well against the Browns. I think their pass rush looked really well, but the Ravens haven't had that great of a defense this year. But I just have no faith in that offense right now. So I'm going to go Ravens, but it's probably going to be a yucky game until like the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Ravens too. I think this is just a downward spiral, and I'm just pushing the Brady trade into reality. So I just need them to keep losing, and they just have no choice but to get rid of a very, very unhappy Tom Brady.
Yeah, Ravens are winning, and Tom Brady is going to maybe kill somebody. Speaking of get right games, the Jaguars are playing the terrible Denver Broncos. Is Russell Wilson playing?
Well, this is overseas, isn't it? Isn't this a London game?
I think they said he's on the track to play, but I don't know. We'll probably find out on like Thursday.
This is at Wembley Stadium. Yep.
Okay. What's the record? I feel like the Jaguars have played 13 times in London. What's the record in London?
Let me see.
I'm offended that you would ask that.
Let me see. I know I had it for a minute, but then they won last year, so it kind of threw off my.
I mean, the Jaguars have, for the most part, always been pretty bad when they played in London. I think this might be the best Jaguars team to have ever played in London.
This is the best Jaguars team to have played.
That's so sad.
Did they play their rookie year with Miles Jack?
The 2017 year they played there. That was a good team. That was a good team.
Yeah.
But they've just been bad. Okay, so Jacksonville is 4-4 in London.
Oh, opportunity to get over 500 in London.
I mean, if they're not going to beat this iteration of the Broncos
so you think the losing streak continues?
I think they're going to win.
Oh,
I think the Jaguars are going to win.
I like it.
But if they lose, then I would not be surprised.
If they lose, we know it's going to be a one-score game. If they lose, it's going to be like 16-13, and it's an absolute mess that Twitter spent the entire morning like, why are we watching this game? Why are we watching this stupid game?
Going to kick like a 70-yard field goal.
Yeah. Give me the Jags. They should win this game. I think the Broncos, that offense is just broken. I don't see it getting fixed midseason.
Broncos are 2-5 right now. I mean, the Bucks are 3-4. We could have some. Yeah,
we could have a couple first-year coach firings. Matt Eberflus in Chicago, Nathaniel Hackett in Denver. I think there's
Nathaniel Hackett is not making it out alive this season.
No, I think it's over.
No way. Okay, so going to the. By the way, I will be taking the Jaguars.
Okay.
Dolphins and Lions. JP, who you got?
Ooh.
Until the Lions defense actually is competent, I'm going to go with Miami. I think they looked a little rough at first in the Steeler game, but that's because Tua was just coming off of injury. They just have way too much speed for every NFL defense. And unless the Lions can turn this into a shootout, I think Miami wins pretty comfortably.
Give me the Dolphins as well. I think Goff's done. Like, he's been sneaky. Remember that Jared Goff renaissance at the beginning of this year where it's like, oh, see, Dan Campbell knew what he's talking about. You can go veteran QB. We can bypass the quarterback stuff. We don't have to draft a quarterback. We can just build everywhere else. Nope. Not really going well. This is a problem. And I don't even know if Jared Goff's going to be the quarterback this week against the Dolphins. I don't know. No, I think the Lions are headed towards disaster. Give me the Dolphins. Dolphins are moving in the right direction. Lions, it's not great. I think it's bad. Second worst defense in football right now.
Absolutely. I'm also taking the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are set to have a pretty decent finish of the season. For the Panthers and Falcons, because Chase is never allowed to have happiness, I'm going to take the Panthers.
Oh, what the hell? You just have, what is this? What?
Oh, let me ask you, Chase. Who do you think's going to win?
I think the Falcons are going to win this game. Like, this is the ultimate Falcons win these games. The Falcons this is a win. The Falcons will win this one. PJ Walker is not going 2-0 in back-to-back weeks. I'm not letting this happen. Brian Burns might not be on this roster by the end of the week. We'll see. No, I refuse to believe that the Falcons will actually lose to the Panthers this week. I also will say the Falcons schedule, like when folks are like, oh, here comes. The Falcons schedule is top notch, like the next 6 weeks. Like, this should still be like they, I think, are going to win the NFC South. I am not moving off this where the Bucks are just awful. The Panthers are awful. The Saints have, I think, they've given up the most points this year when you have a defensive-minded coach you just elevated in Dennis Allen. That's not great. Saints might be terrible. Falcons are just like sitting there looking around like that John Travolta gif where he's just like looking around in Pulp Fiction. That's what they're doing in the NFC South. I think the rest of the way, the Falcons are going to be good. Like I think this is where the run starts. Give me the Falcons. They are going to have a great run here, and it starts with the Panthers. This is a Falcons win. If they lose this game, which no one should watch unless you're a fan of one of the teams, like the Falcons got the Panthers, they get the Chargers at home the next week, they get the Panthers on the road, the Bears at home, Commanders on the road, the Steelers at home, at New Orleans. Like, you look at the schedule, I'm just like, it's not a scary schedule. This is just not a schedule that I'm all that worried about. This team's going like 9-8, and that might be enough to win the NFC South.
It's the hope that gets you. It's always the hope. After the Jaguars beat the Chargers, I was looking at the schedule like, hey, maybe we get into London, maybe like 6-1 or like 7-1, 6-2. We might have something here. Then they proceeded to lose 4 straight.
Yeah.
I'm going with the Panthers.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
oh no.
That's my boy.
JP, what?
Yeah.
We had all this progress. I thought
First off, it's the Atlanta Falcons. Don't put that on anybody. Like they have to cape for the Atlanta
2022 NFC South champion Atlanta Falcons.
See, every time you think the Falcons will win, they'll lose. And every time they think they'll lose, they'll win. I think this is a game that on paper, they should win, which means they're going to lose this game in excruciating fashion.
There's a path where they're favored 5 weeks in a row. It's
the hope.
I know. I can't do it. Hope maybe Ritter gets in. I can't do any more 13 passes game from. If there is a time to put in Ritter, it's now.
You know, Joe Flacco has attempted more passes than Marcus Mariota this year.
Is that true?
That is true.
Oh my God. That's insane. Well, it's not surprising. Like I said, he's good. It's an experience. Drake London and Kyle Pitts are having a great time. They're laughing, actually. It's fun.
There's no reason we should ever spend this much time talking about the Falcons, so I'm moving on. Cardinals and Vikings, I've got the Vikings.
Where are you going, JP?
This is going to be a close game. I think the Vikings, I'm still not sure what the Vikings actually are. And now that the Cardinals have DeAndre Hopkins back, they can actually run an offense, their offense, which is find DeAndre Hopkins and throw him the ball 40 times. So I'm going to go with the Vikings, but it's going to be real close.
Robbie Anderson, D-Hop, like you said, their identity with all the issues of that identity, at least they can actually do what Cliff Kingsbury wants to do now. Like they can actually see this through. Kyler hasn't been terrible. Like I think he's just kind of under the radar now. He's been fine. The Vikings have overachieved. This is the Cardinals are not going anywhere. The 2 pick sixes against Andy Dalton last Thursday, they get a week and a half almost break in between this game. I think I'm going Cardinals. I think the Cardinals win this one.
Okay. Yeah, you're wrong. But anyways, Bears and Cowboys. I think this is an obvious one for all parties involved. Dak is back. He played decent football. I'm going to take the Cowboys.
Will this game even be competitive by the end of the first quarter?
No, absolutely not.
This might be a bloodbath early. I'm going with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Good talk. Moving on.
Oof.
Raiders and Saints, 2 teams that are just absolutely terrible to watch. I want nothing to do with this game. I will, just for the sake of it, take the Raiders, but I'm not happy about either.
I'm taking the Raiders. I feel pretty confident in that. I think they found their identity, which is bring Jacob Johnson in and run the ball with Josh Jacobs. They have done that very well. Like I think it even goes back to the Broncos game. Josh Jacobs had like 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is running with a passion, which is, of course, contract year Josh Jacobs. Here we go. It's time to turn it up. So I think I'm going to go with the Raiders here.
I am too. Raiders 3-4. I don't think you can cancel them out for a wild card. I put the Raiders in the playoffs before the season. Evan put the Chargers in. I was like, the Chargers, when are we going to move on from the Chargers?
If they should not exist. If the Chargers even get remotely healthy.
But you do this every year. When do we just say that they're never going to be healthy? This is never a thing in Los Angeles.
The Chargers injuries.
The thing about the Chargers injury problems is it's never a nagging injury. It's always an out for the season.
Yes.
Out for 2 years. JC Jackson is out for the season.
Jason Verrett missed like 19 years while he was in San Diego and Los Angeles. Man, no, give me the Raiders. I think the Raiders are going to make the playoffs. Put it in there. Raiders are going to sneak in there.
Okay. Eagles and Steelers. Is this the game that Philadelphia loses?
No.
I think we have to operate in a new world, right, JP, where the Steelers are just bad. Like we've given Tomlin the benefit of the doubt for so long where it's like they'll get to 500. And the last couple of years we're like, Ben's terrible and this offense sucks, but they're going to find their way to 7-9, 8-8 or whatever. I think now the bottoms fall out. Like the fact that Claypool's popping up in trade reports, you're like, oh, they're gearing up for like Tomlin is elite and as fantastic of a coach as he is, he can't even overcome what's going on in Pittsburgh right now.
Until they actually throw a pass beyond 10 yards, that offense is going to be what it was yesterday against Miami, which is all Najee Harris help and out routes and hitches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a high school offense, and that falls a lot on Matt Canada. Matt Canada should be gone by now, but until he's not gone, the Eagles should have no problems here.
Yeah, give me the Eagles. I think the Steelers stink. This is it. Rough.
Oh man, yeah, that is. I'm gonna take the Eagles, but I do think a surprise win by the Steelers, just because the Eagles are gonna have to lose a game eventually, and it's gonna be some weird game.
Who did they beat 2 weeks ago? Who was the upset win? I already forgot. Who was that? Who did they beat when they shouldn't have beat? The Bills? Who was that?
No, they played the Cardinals a couple weeks ago, and they almost got beat.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying the not the Cardinals, the
Steelers?
Who did the Steelers upset and win 2 weeks ago? Who am I missing? Who did they beat? Why am I blanking? They just had an upset, I feel like, right? With Mitch Trubisky when he was back. Who did they just beat?
Oh, the Buccaneers.
The Bucs, that's what it was. Okay, they got it for that one. And that one doesn't look as big of a game as it a big of a win as it did at the time.
In hindsight.
Yeah, in hindsight, not really great.
So the Jets are going to beat the Patriots. I don't know what else to say here. They just announced tonight that Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi might both see the field tonight. This is not getting better anytime soon.
I think the Patriots are built defensively to beat this Jets team because this Jets team wants to run the ball. The Patriots defense would love for you to try and run the ball at them because that's what they enjoy to do. They enjoy hitting people. This is an old school defense. Like Juwan Bentley should not work in 2022 as a linebacker, but he does because all he wants to do is knock your fullback's teeth down his throat. So I think this game could get real tough for the Jets, especially if they can't run the ball. So I'll probably take the Patriots here.
I agree. I think the Pats is a bad matchup for the Jets. I think the Jets match up much better against the Dolphins than the Pats. So give me the Pats in this one.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Bill Belichick loves to beat up on young quarterbacks.
He's not letting Zach Wilson beat him. Like this is not.
I'm telling you, this is a different. The Patriots don't do well. They've never done well against good defenses, and I think this defense can play well right now. You remember what used to happen those Rex Ryan years when they had Darrelle Revis. Sauce Gardner looks incredible.
Quinnen Williams.
Yeah.
Good team.
Titans and Texans. Just some more sad football. I'll take the Titans just so I can stop talking about this game.
Titans. Yeah.
The Titans are just existing. Like Derrick Henry's good again and he's still there, but everyone picks against the Titans winning the AFC South each and every year. They're like, this can't continue. And then Mike Vrabel's like, yes, it can, and it will until my Night's Watch ends. Like that's what Derrick Henry is. He's like Jon Snow. Like he's just riding into the Battle of the Bastards each week, saving this team without Treylon Burks, AJ Brown. Just all right. I guess I'll do it myself again. I guess I'll just win the AFC South for us again.
Somebody's gonna win the AFC South at like 6-11.
Yeah,
and we're gonna have a serious discussion about whether this division should be relegated.
They need to start doing that in the NFL. It's too bad that they can't. Maybe that'll happen with the XFL. Next, we've got the Giants and the Seahawks, and that's feels like two overperforming teams finally face off. So somebody's got to lose. I'm a Niners fan, so I hope it's the Seahawks that lose, and I'm going to say the Giants win.
This is a sneaky, this might be one of the games of the week.
I was going to say, is this the game of the week?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I think the Giants are constantly playing with fire, and I think Geno is the right quarterback that'll eventually get them burned.
Until it happens, I'm going Giants. I'm just riding this until it ends. Until the Giants, just the dark magic that they've been using to win all these one-score games, until it runs out, I'm just not strong hocus pocus vibes here. So until that flame is blown out, I'm not picking against them. Give me the Giants until further notice.
Yeah. All right. Commanders and Colts, just awful football. Awful football. I'm going to take the Colts just because there's that little magic of starting a new quarterback, but I don't know that They might both lose just because they're both that terrible of teams.
Can I pick a tie?
This could end in a tie. This could be a tie.
This game ending in a tie will be hilarious. But in all seriousness, I'm going to go with the Commanders. I think their defensive line is going to give the Colts a lot of problems.
Yeah. No Chase Young, and they're still getting a bunch of pressure. Sweat's been awesome for them. This is a bad matchup for the Colts. And I love the Taylor Heineke thing where he wins these dumb games where it's like, it's clear he's not good. And then he just wins more than Carson Wentz, whoever it is. Like, it's just, he's going to go 2-0 to start off his season here in DC. It's the dumbest thing possible, but I agree. This is not going to be great. Sam Ehlinger versus Taylor Heineke on an NFL Sunday midway through the season. That's not what you want.
Yeah. Rams and 49ers.
This better be it. This better be the comeback day. This has to be the bounce back day.
This is the thing, though. Kyle Juszczyk's going to be out now. Deebo Samuel has a hamstring injury. If Eric Armstead can maybe come back, I don't know. It's been crazy that he's been out this many games. Is Bosa healthy? Is Ibukam coming back? It's the Rams, so the Niners have a high probability always of beating them. But my God, I'll tell you this. I live in LA. I live close-ish to the stadium. I got so many friends going to the game. I don't want to spend the money because I'm afraid they're going to lose. I don't want to spend $500 to go watch my team lose with half the team injured. The one thing I will say is this. The Rams have looked terrible all year, and Christian McCaffrey with a full week of prep, they might run all over. Kyle Shanahan might just abuse Sean McVay, as he has in the past, just to get some pent-out frustration. So we'll see.
This is the get-right game for the Niners defense. If you thought playing an average offensive line was bad against the Niners, Joe Noteboom is out for the rest of the season for the Rams. Torn Achilles. Their left tackle's done. Their center has not played good. I don't think anybody on that offensive line has played very well. You don't want that problem against the Niners. If there's ever a get-right game for that defense, it's right now. I think I'm going to go with the Niners. I'm going to go with the Niners comfortably.
The Niners have lost to the Broncos, the Falcons, the Bears. Right? Okay. Every week has been a get-right game, and they lose.
That's true.
Every time they go up against these bad football teams and they go, who of your team would you like to have a breakout game? Well, let's make that happen.
But also, hoop idea though. What if the Bears created a dome stadium? The new Soldier Field is a dome, but it only rains in the stadium. Like, it's just, they have their own way of turning every home game into a monsoon. What if that's the path back to good Bears football? Is they have to be in a monsoon.
Turn every game into 1985.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm going Niners. I think we're like a week or two away. I think before this game, Matt Stafford might just elect to get surgery on his elbow mid-year. Like, we're very close to him saying, I'm not dealing with this left tackle situation for the remainder of the year. We suck. I'm out. I got my ring. I'm going to go get surgery, live in LA, and have a good time. I'm out. Like, I don't think Stafford's finishing the year. I think we're getting a Stafford IR report at some point.
Just like Jimmy's shoulder injury last year?
Yeah, he's just like, I'm done. This is not happening. I'm out of here, which I would totally understand. No, give me the Niners. They don't win this one. This is real bleak for San Francisco.
Yeah, if they don't win this game, hey, the Blazers are undefeated. So Packers and Bills, this game might make Aaron Rodgers retire.
Well, he did say it's better that they're the underdog now, that he thinks it might help that they're going in as massive underdogs.
You guys want to know the opening line for this
What
game?
Is it?
It's Bills minus 10.5.
Woo!
Dog, this is like
I would take that.
Mike Florio doesn't ever say smart, intelligent, legible things.
Whoa! Mike Florio getting strays on here.
Okay,
Mike Florio.
Yeah, Pro Football Yeah, what are we doing here? It's Mike Florio. Anyways,
Wow.
he said something that actually was like a really good point. This is going to be like the most like cliche changing of the guard games of all time, right? Like Josh Allen is just going to go in and light the Packers up. He might throw 4 touchdowns.
The Bills are going to put the Packers through a table. That's exactly what this game is going to be.
Tables, ladders, and chairs match.
This is the tables, ladders, and chairs match. Von Miller, look, David Bakhtiari. There are reports that David Bakhtiari has just not looked right at all in practice, and that comes from like kind of trying to rush back from a knee injury that wasn't very like. It was mysterious last year, and it's been even more mysterious this year. Von Miller might legitimately break Aaron Rodgers in half. Like I think the Bills win. Like this might be a blowout. Like we might get another like opening weekend like Rams Bills game.
Yes.
Man, yeah, I think we're all going Bills here. And then where are we ending on Monday Night Football?
I didn't get to ask you this, and I wanted to during that discussion, but are the Bengals back? Are they like Super Bowl back? Like after what you saw last week, because they played the Browns and they're going to beat the Browns, but are they back?
I think they found the formula for getting back. I don't think they're fully back, but they're making their way back. Basically what they've done is just like their thing like in the off season last year and for the first few weeks of this year was if they're under center, it's a run. If they're in shotgun, it's a pass. They've thrown out the middleman. They're just like, yeah, we're not going under center anymore. They were going to turn this into spread offense. We're going to put in the LSU playbook and let Joe Burrow cook. And it's looked really, really good. Their run game has looked great out of the shotgun. I don't want to say they're fully back, but now they have the formula to get back. So I'll say they're back after the Browns game. Like I'll have a full conclusion after the 3-game sample size.
I mean, they're healthy. That's the other thing. That's just nice for them. Like they're across the board healthy. Mixon, Joe, Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, Hayden Hurst. Like that's part of an undervalued part of like teams being back or teams just success in the regular season is just, oh, the Bengals are healthy. They're fine. And Hendrickson's been awesome on the edge, and I think Hubbard's kind of underrated on the other side. Eli Apple's still a train wreck. The Falcons burnt him one time on Sunday, but that's still just a huge weak link that I think teams will continue to be like, oh, Eli Apple's out wide again. Okay, we got that one. I don't know. I think their offense is back, though. I think Joe Burrow is going to keep cooking with this group as long as they're healthy, and they're healthy across the board. That matters. Give me the Bengals, though. I think we're all going Bengals, right? No Browns.
Yeah, we're all going Bengals.
The Browns defense is really bad.
Oof.
Like if the Lions were the 31st like best defense in the NFL, it wouldn't surprise me if the Browns are 32nd. Like they've poured all these resources into their defensive backfield, and nothing has worked this season. Like it all just looks bad. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals here. They have the perfect group to make these Browns DBs look stupid.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, this was fun. JP, you were awesome. What can the good folks check out from you over at SB Nation? What do you want to plug as we wrap up here tonight?
So right now, I posted a story this week, today about the 49ers basically going to martial arts like Be Water. Like, you know, Evan actually brought it up where he was kind of like Aikido, where he's like, oh, reverse. And I'm like, oh, this is just my story that I wrote today. So I wrote about that. We got a Heisman ballot coming out tomorrow that I worked with my co-writer Mark Schofield on. And then you can always find me Fridays writing Establish the Fun, which is my weekly column where I just talk about things that are fun in the NFL because I just like looking at that stuff.
There you go. Evan, what about you? Anything plug for an air sub? Your Twitter at Evan Sowards. Payne.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow me on Twitter, Evan Sowards, and also follow me to the liquor store as I drink my problems away because my team is miserable. No, actually, I'm not. I'm happy. My team is undefeated. Go Blazers. They play the Nuggets tonight, and they're going to destroy them.
Weird start of the year with the Blazers. We'll see if shout out to Dame Lillard though for a multitude of reasons, but Dame getting in Aiton's ear as he's shooting those big time clutch free throws at the end and just being like, you weren't built. I forgot what the exact thing was, just like, you're not ready for this moment or you're not built for this. And then he proceeds to miss both. Was top notch, like top notch stuff right there. That is that just warmed my heart. So that was fun. JP, you were sensational. Appreciate you making the time, and we'll have to have you back on again soon this NFL season. Evan, thank you as always, my friend. And that's it for tonight. Evan, I'll talk to you next week. JP, talk soon.
Thank you guys.